You commented, we answered. Welcome to another episode of You Can't Make This Shit Up. Your host, David Washington, Joel Hoxley. We're here today. We want you to join the heart of current events, responding directly to our viewers' comments on everything from fake news to unsupported facts. In this episode, we tackle controversial topics with some humor, insight, and a commitment to truth. So watch as we navigate the murky waters of modern discourse, aiming to shed light on the issues that matter most. And remember, your voice matters, so keep these comments coming. David, we always tell them, hey, make your comments. And we had a short that was blowing up.
Yes, we did.
We have somebody trying to sell us a house or telling us that we might get, it's great to see some young people, know so much, man. You'll have some home ownership soon.
I saw that. It's like, okay, all right.
Must be a real estate agent. But yeah, this is gonna be fun. I thought, a lot of this stuff was quite interesting. Work hard and you can buy your own home. Better economy that New York and California. I assume that was a comment on one of the DeSantis videos.
Yes.
Now this one, David, just comes out of the blue. You guys were talking about stroll and stumble. This was when you and Kellen tackled this one,
right?
And you got. I'm a snowbird from Chicago that has residence in Baldwin Park. It's a great place to live. So they love where you live, David. So
I would hope so.
They know Chicago and they know, Baldwin Park. So
I would hope so. It would be nice if Mom visited more often, but that's a different story for a different time.
Just saying. You tell everybody to comment. So hey,
indeed,
it's great to see that. Love it. So we had Amy Pennick. She's the Republican candidate. She's running for supervisor of elections against the current supervisor of elections, who is also a Republican.
Yes.
Chris Anderson.
Yes.
We had some really good shorts with Amy because she put some real good content out there. She was very open. She spoke very clearly on the issues, and shorts can be taken the wrong way. But I thought how a short doesn't really tell the whole story, and the comments were really intriguing, David. So this one is from Caroline Fett 4311, and it says, "She is spreading lies, fake news! ! Vote on election day with ID. Stop the cheating. Stop the fraud." Dave, I don't get it. She's clearly one of these people that doesn't. How can you trust an election? Even if you go on election day, if you don't, you think there's fraud out there,
right?
Yeah. So go ahead, David. You could take that for a minute.
I was just going to say, I was just going to allow you to read the comment that
I made.
That replied, yes.
Oh yeah. So as a conservative county, this is the candidate that is actually being considered for a Rule 8 endorsement by the Seminole County Republican Party. Now, she is not spreading fake news. And even President Donald Trump has said Florida vote by mail is safe. So we don't take sides, but facts matter here on You Can't Make This Shit Up. So I had to be clear. Look,
Very clear.
you don't know who this person is.
No.
You just know that she supports vote by mail. And that's because we put out a short that highlighted that. Then listen, this is the candidate that the Republicans want to replace their own Republican with. And that's the politics of Seminole County. And then she says, Carol says, no early voting.
Right. It may be her preference. However, states are allowed by their own constitutions and by the U.S. constitutions to determine their own methods of voting and when voting starts. And again, there's so much history behind the vote by mail and early voting that I believe that some of our commenters, like Carolyn, need a little bit more education. I personally agree with what candidate Amy Pennick said in our interview. And I hope that Carolyn and everyone else take the opportunity and see the full interview.
Oh yeah, if you can make that type of comment, watch the whole video. You'll see it even in better context. But then, David, it doesn't stop there, because then we have this Keith Croning 4240 wants to make an impact. And listen, we tell you to bring your facts, not your feelings.
Amen.
So fake news. I just checked Pew Research, and what she says is statistically wrong, but does support the Democrat vote by mail. Follow the science/math. David, you know I am a numbers geek. Amy is a numbers geek. We find out in this interview she
That's
loves her numbers, right?
That's correct.
I took a deep breath and I say, how much time do I spend in the Pew numbers, right? If you tell me you go into the Pew numbers, please bring me the Pew numbers that you use, because I will say, okay, I'll agree with you 100% if you're right.
Correct.
But I had to comment on this one. You know, I said the same thing. As a conservative county, this is the candidate that is being considered for the Rule 8 endorsement by the Seminole County Republican Party. She is not spreading fake news, and even President Donald Trump says Florida vote by mail is safe. Yes. We do not take sides. You know, say the same thing, right?
Correct.
But I also provide in this one. Do I have another comment here? It should have 3 replies. Then Keith says,
further down, okay, yep.
Yeah, then vote by mail to gauge how much turnout was needed on election day. You know, so I comment on how the Republicans have used this in the past, right?
Correct.
So
yes.
The facts matter. And then I put the actual Pew link. So anybody who's watching us right now, you can go to the Pew link that actually supports what she says. And so I guess we're looking at Pew data in different ways. But listen, if you're going to tell me that my guest is wrong and you don't have support, just bring the support. Because then you go, because after I put the support there, Keith comes back and says, J-Washington, so Pew Research gets ignored for your group to push its version. How do you say that after I just gave you the Pew Research? I gave you a link. You didn't even give me a link, Keith. Keith, come on. This is not fair. I said we attached the actual Pew data. David's trained me well, right? When I'm responding as Jay in Washington, I'm bringing facts, guys.
That's right.
It gets better though, because these shorts, they get some really good comments.
We've got some serious traction.
What BS ? Is it a question that is BS or is it a BS? Should be exclamation mark maybe, but you know, the world votes now, David. The world votes on one day. It's election day, not election season.
That's correct.
Okay, so I'm going to look. Last time I was in Germany, they didn't vote on the first Tuesday of November. Okay, if you're going to use, listen, I know you're mad, right? But if you're going to, the world does not vote on the same day. And after I'm done laughing, and I understand what they're saying, I
Right.
go, okay, this one needs a comment. This one needs
Yes. Yes. Thank
Ar-
you.
Article
Thank you,
1
Joel.
of the legislative branch, right? In Section 4 of the Congress. You know, this is more than Constitution. So I have to, Clause 1, election clause. Now, this is clear. The time, place, and manner of holding elections for senators and representatives shall be prescribed in each state by the legislature thereof. But the Congress may at any time by law make or alter such regulation except as to the place of choosing senators. And then I have the historical, the article S4C1-1 So I put these things down: the historical background, the state of elections. So hey, I'm covering. I'm letting you know. Look, the world doesn't vote on the same day, and
Exactly.
even if you meant the United States, yes.
And I want to say, I want to talk about this in particular, and I get what the commenter is saying. I get it. Okay, so let's take that premise. Let's say, okay, the world votes on one day. South Africa votes on one day. They get there, and these show up in the comments also. So I'm
Uh,
kind of
you're
preempting.
previewing.
Exactly. Okay, so if you want to mimic or be the same as other countries, well, most countries in the world are not democracies, let alone representative democracies. So if you want to make an argument, well, if they're doing it like that, so America should do it like that, well, maybe we should base our governments like those governments, the predominant form of government in the world. Why stop there? Let's base our economies on those other countries. Why stop there? Let's base this. Let's base that. So the argument is kind of circular in the way, and it's frustrating because it does appear that folks just aren't civically aware of the Constitution. I'm just not civically aware of
it,
the electoral process.
it's David. My mother always said, when I would say, "Well, everybody else is doing it," and she'd say, "Oh, are you going to follow them off the bridge?" I mean,
Thank you.
and
Right.
I I'm just like amazed. But the comment, that comment was not as. This one's even better because the next one from Privateer 9181
Yeah.
actually references the Constitution. So I was like, oh, great. This is fantastic. I can go to the Constitution for this one because it says the Constitution says we vote on the first Tuesday after the first Monday, not earlier.
Correct.
Oh, wow. Okay. Now, so I of course, I give the actual Constitution, right? What's
Mm-hmm.
in the Constitution. And then I say, well, that's not enough. Let me actually let her or him know where they're getting their idea of why we vote there. Because 2 US Code 7, time of election is a law. It says that the Tuesday next after the first Monday in November in every even numbered year is uh, established as a day for elections in each state and the territory of the United States, representative and delegates. It's clear, and it even gives you the. So listen, if you come up, if you hit me, I'm going to give you facts. But
And
privateer comes back and understanding where we're coming from says thanks. Always good to learn. That was so polite, and I really appreciate it because
I
I
mean,
want you to know the Constitution doesn't say it.
right.
The
U.S.
Congress
code.
the Congress has decided that that's when we do it. So it's in the U.S. code.
That's correct.
So love the fact that this person actually responded that way. Um, but they still go on because now they say show ID and vote, but they don't want that. What they want is unidentified people voting.
Oh boy, here we go, Joel.
So I'm like, okay, well, that's a perspective, right? That's
That
not a
is it.
fact.
That's true.
That's what you perceive. It's not a fact. And this guest doesn't advocate for everyone to be able to vote in our elections. No, there's not one iota of that conversation that says, "Hey, I want this to happen. I want
Right.
this to happen right away. Yeah, I want everybody to be able to have access to the polls." No, we have an ID law here in Florida. We have our laws are very tight here. We've had conversations about these, David.
Yes, we
So
have.
I'm amazed, and I know you feel like you have to say something because you didn't say something on this one.
And again, I mean, how many times do we have to repeat it? But then again, not everyone's listening to every show. So, hey, we're going to educate, no matter what. And so, my understanding, based on information that I learned yesterday, there have been 21 cases of voter fraud in the United States. In the United States, in the past 20 years, that were prosecuted successfully. 21 cases in the last 20 years. And I want to remind people that our form of government is for the people and by the people. And the accusations of perceived fraud and scandal is an affront to the good men and women who are election workers, poll watchers, but even more so, those citizens who are eligible to vote, who go and vote, whether by vote by mail, early voting, or walk in on election day. And the so called fraud, I'm just not seeing it. Granted, there are investigations still ongoing. There's one currently in Georgia, where there was recent testimony about the photographing of ballots, the official recording
Well,
of the ballots, and
the judge yesterday, not to interrupt you, but David, judge
please,
yesterday said something about 71,000 votes. So that the lady comes up and says, "No, we had that issue. There's not 71,000 outstanding ballots. It was a glitch in the system, but we hand counted them." So the judge is seeing, you know, listen, you've got your advocates out there, you got your people that want to have conspiracy theories, but
right,
I don't see the conspiracy here. I think that this is, you know, this is the outcome that you didn't want. Like when Hillary didn't win, she was the similar, but she hasn't gone to this extreme, right?
right.
She blamed Russia and everything else. So we get to
That's
spend
correct.
all that time,
The
hey,
campaign
Russia,
did
Russia, 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 right? Now
correct,
we don't get the result we want, and now we want to blame everybody for voter fraud and the extra votes and all this other stuff. And I want to kind of go here, David, because I don't think people in my party wonder why I can be so confident. I understand human behavior, and you more than I do because of the roles you've had. But
sure,
Arizona didn't vote for Donald Trump. Arizona had no reason to support Donald Trump if you were a Republican and you were a John McCain fan.
yeah,
And John McCain's wife campaigned against him in the
that's
entire
right,
state. So she out campaigned him. I'm sorry, that's what happened, right? You put our president put tariffs in place, and those tariffs
yes, he
hurt
did.
people in Wisconsin and Michigan and these places where he surprisingly won the first time. Okay, well, you don't you may have kept your promises, you might have done the right thing, but you made some of these people lose their jobs, and they paid you back by not voting for you because it was a thin margin. Okay, and then Georgia. Georgia was a full on attack against the president, and it's the first time since Jimmy Carter that 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 the state has gone blue. Okay, but that was because black women vote, and when you charge black women and you get them out, and you look at the demographics of Georgia, Georgia is a Democrat state. They just have been complacent, and now they're on fire and they're angry and or whatever, and they come out. You
That's
can't
right.
stop that. These are the things that are human nature. So yes, I can sit here confidently and say, unfortunately, as bad as I feel that he lost, I can say 100% I do believe he lost because he didn't lose in a state that surprised me. I mean, if it was like, oh my God, that, you know, if Donald Trump won Massachusetts, you guys need to go find out what happened.
Right. Right.
I mean, come on, that's an anomaly.
Exactly, it's part of the process, and each campaign or even the government do its due diligence to find out if there is any type of fraud or whatever, and that kind of speaks to the next comment that show up.
Oh yeah, Zoom do one. You can take that one. That
Oh, so Zoom do one IH. Oh, gee, I don't know. How about the exponential increase in voter fraud? Nice try, liberal loon.
first of
Wow.
all, she's not. First of all, she's not a liberal loon, but far be it from me to get this guy's or this person's dander up.
Right. And the exponential, increase in voter fraud, like we stated. If you want to look at the villages, I mean, there were folks who were actually arrested and went to charges brought against them for perceived voter fraud. But again, there is voter fraud, but not on the wide scale level that people think is occurring that would affect an election. Now, there is voter suppression methods. They may be called, one thing or another, but there are legal attempts, and some methods that have been codified into law to discourage, early voting or vote by mail, or even showing up on election day. However you perceive these laws. So we could talk about that. But for the most part, as far as voter fraud, it doesn't exist on the large scale that people are presuming that it does.
Now
And I
we
don't
talk
know how much more we can say about it, but I'm sure we'll
we talk
continue to have a conversation.
but we do talk facts, right?
Yes,
So
you do, sir.
one fact that we have to look at is when you take and you break down voter fraud and you start to look at those that have been I guess that Republicans are probably just not very good at it because they're the ones that get caught, I guess, and Democrats don't. Listen, I took and looked at the overall, breakdown of NPA, Republican and Democrat over these voter fraud things. There have been more Republicans that have violated the voter registration laws and the voter fraud. I mean, voting in two states. It's been Republican, a few more Republicans than Democrats. That I have to say it's embarrassing, but I have to admit when my party's uh, the culprit here. That's a fact, and facts hurt. Like
Mhm.
January 6th hurts me. Like that's a story for a different day, but that hurts me.
Yeah.
I was sitting there watching that day at home, C-SPAN, my favorite station, and watching it live, and didn't know what the hell was going on, and
Sure.
it broke my heart. So, uh, okay, now we put a short out there, and this was where We talked about voting the bottom of the ballot up to the top, meaning everybody should be very educated on their ballots. So, of course, we have a comment because Amy starts points out that the importance of voting for school board
Yeah,
down ballot is very important because they're the largest taxing authority in the county.
that's correct.
Okay, she didn't say that she was going to tax you. She said that that's a reason to go out and vote. Yeah, that's a reason you should make sure you have the right people in place on the school board. She didn't say
Indeed.
anything else. And the very first comment comes from David Smith, not our David Smith, I hope.
No, not our David Smith. No.
Okay. It's David Smith dash FZ8JU. Taxation is where we are screwed, and most in America, but we're worried about gender issues or foreign wars.
Joel, I have to agree with that statement for the most part. I believe taxation um, is an issue, not probably in the way that this David Smith is talking about it. I believe that the tax code is an issue. It needs to be addressed as a better way to tax goods and services if necessary, and tax individuals, corporations, so forth and so on. But it's a matter of understanding the tax code and knowing, again, as candidate Amy Pinnick told us, the school board is the largest taxing body in Seminole County, and people should be aware of that, and they should be thinking that when they speak to their representatives on the school board, speak to their representatives on the county commission, speak to their state legislators, and question what value am I getting from my tax dollars.
Oh, absolutely. Now, I don't know what the word is, but it's at pound dollar sign percentage starts at the bottom, and I can only assume that you were saying a cuss word about our comment about from the bottom up.
Right.
So I did
Yes.
I said, just to understand where we're coming from, an informed voter would be more concerned with who can impact their life immediately and not concern themselves with some popularity contest at the top of the ballot.
That's right.
Okay. If you know who your local leaders are, you can get results. Safe
That's
water,
right.
garbage pickup, police, fire, paramedics, and so much more are managed by people listed on the bottom of your ballot.
Boom. Right there. Right there. Boom. That's the essence.
I don't want I don't want for me I don't want to tax and spend liberal on my commission. Okay, I just don't want that. And if that's why I vote locally, okay, and that's why I vote conservative. David David wants a Democrat on the commission so he can have balance. He wants somebody who's going to defend, what his needs are. I get it. So I go in and I vote for the Republican. He votes, even though it's MPA in your county, but you vote for the Democrat. I vote for the Republican. We balance each other out. So we're hoping that you know the ballot too, so you vote for the right person.
I think, I think if there were conservatives in Orange County running for school board, it'll make my choices a little bit easier. But in my school district, it's been mostly liberals.
Yeah, but
Uh,
we listen. We had a surprise. I mean, Democrats got elected here on the school board the last time, which was very unusual. Um, and you guys got a Republican
that's
uh,
right,
on
Alicia
the school
Speroni.
board.
That's
So,
correct.
I mean, kind of backwards, the heavy liberal got a conservative, and we ended up getting two Democrats. So,
Member Ferrant followed the advice that she was given early in her campaign. She followed through, and she's a school board member. Um, how I would know about that, I don't know. Wink, wink.
Yeah. So, oh, here you go. Non,
None of
non,
y'all business.
non your business. CG7MF. My school district gets over 50% of my real estate taxes. A good school district helps retain the value of your real estate.
I agree wholeheartedly.
Absolutely. Uh, you can take the next one, David.
These names, Fat Funk. Let's call it that.
Hot
Fat
tongue.
Funk. If you shirk your responsibility as a citizen, then you are nothing but a slave. Okay. I mean, there's some. I see what they're saying. A little bit hyperbolic.
Hyperbole.
Thank you. But in essence, yes, we as citizens have responsibility, civic engagement, civic responsibility, and there's more to just voting. It's a process. So I agree. I agree.
I don't know what BOE is. So the next one I have no.
Board of
It's
Education.
Board of Education. Is that what it is?
Yes, yes. So
So
this
they're all
one's
they're all pervs in the BOE. I don't think so.
yeah,
The,
with a name like Ninja Please, let's say it that way.
yeah, yeah.
Uh, yeah, that's just a very
Look,
ignorant statement.
it is. And what did it make you feel good? Did it make you feel good to put it there? Because guess what? It's name calling, and we don't name call.
Yep, it helps our algorithm, but hey, yeah,
Oh
that
yeah.
can be better than that.
Now Rodney Lane 4271 comes with absentee ballot voting is completely different from universal ballot voting. Once they do an 85% check against all signatures, maybe kind
I'm not too
of
sure about that one, Joel. Maybe help me out. Universal ballot? Are we talking about like ranked
okay.
choice?
So I believe what Rodney is saying is absentee ballot or vote by mail is different than universal balloting, which means everybody gets a ballot no matter what. You're registered to vote, you automatically get a ballot at
Right.
home. You can open it up and vote. He's talking the apples and oranges.
Right.
Right now, you an absentee ballot or a vote by mail, you have to request it. uh, if we were to go with universal balloting, I'm against universal balloting because I don't think you'd give a ballot to somebody, unless they're actually going to vote. I mean, don't. I mean, they should have the initiative to get that ballot. I mean, I take the initiative to go out on election day to vote, or early voting. Now I go early voting because I'm
Yeah.
busy on election day.
Yeah.
I don't care to vote by mail, because I don't want to put a stamp on the damn ballot because I feel like that's a tax. Now you guys don't
That's
have
a
to
good
do it
point.
in Orange County, okay? You got postage paid, so.
Go orange.
But that's
I
what I think that they're talking about that,
okay.
uh, and I would agree with them. I don't think that everybody should be mailed a ballot. It's a waste of taxpayer money. Uh, so
I like the idea of automatic registration when you apply for your driver's license or updating of your registration if you meet the criteria for to be eligible to register to vote.
right,
As far as automatically receiving the ballot in the mail, I agree for the rate of return on that, the return on the investment, and also I just it opens up for fraud, and I believe people should know exactly, learn exactly what the process is here in our listening area. Well, in Florida, let's just put Florida, and in Orange County or Seminole County or Osceola County in Central Florida, because each office abides by some general protocol, but you can receive your ballot in the window, a time frame that's a window. Some supervisors of election will send out their vote by mail ballots to those who requested it at the beginning of that window period. Some at the end. And some have early voting at the beginning of that eligibility window. Some may decide to do it later in that eligibility window. So the onus is on the voter. Do your own damn research. Do your own damn research and find out exactly what the protocols are in your particular jurisdiction.
Yeah. I like what Mike B 2128 says, kind of, parents and non-voters need to listen to this and rethink why you pay taxes and for what reason.
Thank you. Vote, Mike B says. He's
Yeah.
right. An educated voter is an engaged voter.
I agree with ALROK 3001. Of course, it should be a day off. Voting in person. Also, her. Now, I don't agree with this part, but I agree with
first
that.
Part.
So the first part, of course, it should be a day off. Voting in person. It'd be great. Now, she says also her incredible fake caring of elderly voters is crying effect AF, right?
It's cringe. Yeah.
For me, you don't know Amy if you're trying to say that she was incredibly fake. She was the most real that I've ever had. Like, I enjoyed having her on the show. I enjoyed the fact that she was very candid with the audience, and she does care about those voters. And it doesn't translate well maybe on camera, but don't tell me, you can't tell me, and you're the opposite party, so if you felt it too. I didn't feel that she was, that she didn't
she was very sincere, very articulate in her discussion, very engaging. I enjoy speaking with Amy Pinnock. She's a very good person.
Yeah. So PJMCG 19. I'm glad that you're an older. It says I am an older aged group. I would never trust my vote to the mail service. In person on election day only. That's your preference. That is the way you want to do it. I agree. But when you can't get to the polls, when you get to the point where maybe you're disabled and you can't do that, what are your options then? And that, think about that. Just, I want you to be healthy all the way to the day you die. So I'm with you.
All right, I agree.
You go, David.
Oh, you're gonna let me do this one, huh? So we got Slow Shulu commenting, because by mail helps Democrats cheat easier. That's why. So shut your mouth, lady. Wow, the misogyny going on here. Good job, Slow. Anyway, so we responded by saying this is not true because more Republicans have benefited from vote by mail efforts, and especially with no party affiliated voters. This is a false narrative. Bring your facts before you tell our Republican guest to shut her mouth. Very good response. Shut that shit down.
It's what the hell was that? But
so he replies,
Slow can't be shut up.
No, he's keep going. Let's go. He says, "Yeah, Republicans are using mail honestly. The
demonacy it's illegal. Demousing. I think you're trying to say Democrats.
We'll assume that Slow is wanting to say Democrats here, but he says, Jay Washington, yeah, Republicans are using mail. Honestly, the Democrats illegally. That is true. Okay, again, as we stated before, bring your facts, not your feelings. And if you're going to express yourself in a way that we all can understand.
Yeah,
And
I'm talking about cheating though through the mail, not using it legally.
I don't get it. Again, bring your facts. I don't get it, Joe. It makes for great content, but I don't get it. I
I'm
don't
so
get it.
glad. But again, like
Oh,
this,
he's coming for more.
he's coming for more, right?
He-
I guess he saw a different one because he goes because mail that because by mail helps Democrats cheat easier. Da, 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 da. Oh wait, we have the same thing. Oh, we
Oh,
got a double comment because
oh yeah, a double comment from him. Whoa.
yeah. So so crack Atoa Krakatoa.
Okay,
Okay,
that's where the X-Men are and the rest of the mutants, but
okay.
that's a different story.
So what you're saying is we're done effed up the schools. Now we're coming after your paycheck. That's not what she said.
Yeah. But however, Joel, I saw that comment, and at first I was like going to respond, but I'm like, you know something? Let me think about this one because I can understand the sentiment about the quality of education here in Florida. And how someone can, make a statement. It could be made a little bit more,
Oh yeah, yeah.
however, I can understand the frustration if we're seeing kids, and I'm not going to use Florida. I'm going to use Chicago because I'm a product of the Chicago education system, private education system. But I'm very much aware of the situation with the Chicago public schools,
Uh-huh.
and there are kids who are graduating who can't read, who can't do simple math or whatever, allegedly, and so I can understand that sentiment. I can understand that that we're not um, educating kids to the point where they're able to be functioning adults better than the generation before them. Again, this may be hyperbole. However, I understand the frustration in a statement like this
Yeah.
and how people feel overtaxed.
But they're not coming after your paycheck. If you're a property owner, that's where they. If you're a developer, yeah, that's where you're paying this. This tax. I mean, this tax is a tax burden on the residents of Seminole County, and that's why she's making it very clear. If you're just, they're not coming after your paycheck. So, just for clarification, and I know it's probably being facetious there, but they're not coming after your paycheck. They're coming after your property tax.
Mhm.
Okay, so this one I thought was kind of interesting, David.
Yes, I enjoyed this comment. I think we have something to say.
Yeah, so user SB2UM says, I spent the day of the national election in Indonesia,
Hmm.
developing country. One day election. Everyone was required to vote in their location of residence, bring
Check.
their ID, and have proof of registration to vote.
All right.
Their fingers were dipped in ink after voting to prevent double voting. Results were in by evening. In the US, people vote for a month, and at midnight, we still don't have results.
I get
Okay.
it. I get it, and this goes back to my prior comment. Okay, so if you want to justify what's good for Indonesia, so it should be good for America. We're talking about two different countries. Indonesia is not a developing country. Let's make that very, very clear. You go to Jakarta, you'll know. I've been in
Uh-huh.
Southeast Asia, so forth and so on. So, okay,
And the
if
vote and the vote has already been determined before it even happened because like there's not a real vote going on, people. I'm sorry. I didn't say that out loud, did I?
But, however, and you make a good point, Joel, because in some of these countries, the vote is predetermined. And in some of these countries, the perception that everything is on the up and up and transparent. But what happens after the votes are collected, after the votes are brought into a central location and counted. That process that these commenters are not discussing. India just recently had elections, okay? And there are videos of certain party members entering polling places and clearly taking the ballot boxes out before the vote is over. Granted, I don't have the resources to verify this information.
Yeah.
It's on the internet, but we see this often in other countries. Again, it may be good for them, isn't necessarily good for America. Um, we could equate, their system of government. Okay, if they do it that way, should we do it the same way? Their economic system, they do it that way. Should we do it that way too? So, again, it's a circular conversation. And I like how SB2 kind of laid this out. However, this is America, and America is a representative government, and its representatives um, have established a process locally here in Florida, here in Orange County, where vote by mail and early voting is encouraged. And we are pretty much, we know at the by 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night who has won an election, or what the vote tally is. So there are instances of that, of late
Yeah.
results coming in, but that's something to take up with those individual jurisdictions. Certification of those votes, okay, yeah, it takes a week to certify those votes, or I'm sorry, 3 days I think is
In the
the
state of
limit.
Florida, it's 3 days. So
Yeah, 3 days here in Florida. That's legitimate. That's reasonable. Other states, I can't speak to them.
right. But I don't. It was a good comment, and I
Mhm.
appreciate that kind of
Very good
comment.
comment.
You lay it out, and I'm not dipping my finger just on election day. I'm sorry.
Now,
I'm not going to have a purple finger for you know a month trying to wait for it. Have everybody say, "Hey, you voted." What if somebody didn't like the outcome of the vote and decides to go after everybody who voted?
mark of the beast.
I'm just saying. That was not good, Joel. Hey, so Torin 3481. I like that they are actually being transparent, but their ability and saying that it's important to be aware and engage, so you know what's going on and what to do to prevent it if you don't agree with it. Thank you, thank you. I Oh, let's see. So user YH1HC9MH4I, simple solution. If they lose, then the polls have to pay out of their pocket for the cost.
So this
That
is in
was
regards to the
that was
flash
last.
dancer settlement. Yes, yes, yes. So let's look at the reply. Interesting. Financial consequences for the commissioner's vote on this matter. We encourage residents of Orange County District 6 and Orange County in general to contact their respective commissioners and comment on how you would want them to vote on this matter. So we have Mayor Jerry Deming's contact information, and we also have Board of County Commissioners Commissioner Mike Scott, District 6, where this particular adult entertainment business resides in his district, to comment. Um, something. This was a vote that kind of it, it had people wondering, why would the commission vote to continue a lawsuit against a business who constitutionally, based on the statements by the county's own lawyers, is in the right, and that it was recommended to settle this particular lawsuit, but the commissioners decided, no, we're going to discuss it further and reject the settlement offer. And I don't know, it just didn't make sense. And maybe this particular user had the right the right outcome in mind. You know, if we lose the fight, which is likely, well, the loser in court usually has to pay the lawyer fees.
Oh yeah, they'll end up paying. They'll end up
Exactly.
paying. Well, we thank you. We thank, especially thank you, David, for being here.
Oh,
This was great.
thank you. This was
We,
awesome.
we'd like to do this more often. Please, again, always make your comments. We're not, and we're not making fun of anybody, because if you have comments, we're going to engage them. We're going to answer the ones that absolutely need to be answered. If we don't answer, it's probably because you made a statement more than you actually made a comment, and it didn't need anything. But again, this is you can't make this shit up. You can't. You guys have made the comments, and we appreciate the time that. So, David, I hope you have a great day, and I hope the audience will keep on commenting.
Excellent. Thank you, everyone. Like, share, hit the notification button, and we love to hear what you have to say. Bring your facts, not your feelings.